Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Sarah if you're new here. Today I'm going to share some recipes for you. Maybe for you. I'm going to share them with you. I shared this week's meal plan a couple videos ago now, and I thought that I would go ahead and share with you how I make some of those meals. So starting off tonight, the meal that I'm going to make is meatloaf, and I believe I've made it before, but it's obviously been a while and like shown on my channel. But I'm gonna go ahead and make that tonight with mashed potatoes, and we'll have some sweet corn, which just reminds me I have to pull the sweet corn out of the freezer because that's where it's at right now. And I'm also going to go ahead today and get the marinade for the honey Italian lime. Is that what it's called? Italian lime honey chicken. It's just a simple marinade. I'm gonna go ahead and get that together today, and then it can sit in the fridge for a couple of days. And then I'm also going to be making some cinnamon sugar donut muffins today. I think I'm gonna save those for another video where I share with you some baked goods that you can make that are kid friendly. Let's go ahead and get into the video. There will be other... You're running? There will be other recipes in this video as well. I hope you find at least one recipe that you like and enjoy. In my last video where I shared some kitchen prep, I realized that the lighting on my camera was way too bright. Kind of washed some stuff out, so I adjusted it. Hopefully it's better. I didn't realize there's only like one window right here, up here in front of me, and then there's the sliding door on the other side of the dining room kitchen area. And I thought that I would need a lot more brightness from the camera, and I don't. So I do apologize for how that turned out, but I am working on that, so bear with me. So for the chicken marinade, I have just boneless, skinless chicken breasts. I got these from Walmart. I won't be using all of them. And then I also have some limes. I have 5 of them here. They're kind of small. They're not super big, so I may use them all. I mean, why not? What else am I going to use them for? Actually, I'm going to save one for enchiladas tomorrow. And then I need honey. I have this organic honey from Thrive Market. And then the last thing you need for the marinade is some Italian dressing. I just have the Great Value restaurant style. The recipe I got, or where I saw it, was on the channel The Wads with Kim. He uses the Olive Garden one. This is the first time that I've made this recipe, but I think it sounds delicious, so we're gonna go ahead and give it a shot.
This marinade, I just combined everything into a dish, a glass dish. So the whole container of the dressing, just like a big heaping spoonful of the honey, and 4 of the limes. These limes were not very juicy at all, and I don't have a citrus juicer, but I just use a fork and loosen it up and then squeeze it, and that works really well. And then I cut the chicken up into like quarters. I cut the chicken in half and then in half again, so that would be a quarter. Just like good size pieces to grill. Now I will say I don't have an end shot of this for you, and I can't tell you how it is because I had originally marinated this Monday, intended to eat it Wednesday, but then I was going to switch some things around and eat it Tuesday. So I pulled it out of the fridge on Tuesday, and the chicken smelled like it had gone bad. And I kind of thought it when I was cutting it up here, but I get the ick about chicken, so I thought, nah, I'm being dramatic. No, I was right. It went bad.
Since I am already in the kitchen, I already am making a mess, I'm gonna go ahead and make the cilantro jalapeno dip or sauce. I don't know what it is. It's a Chuy's dupe, kind of, but I modify it, so I don't even know if you can still make it a Chuy's dupe. I've also never been to a Chuy's. They don't have those in Iowa. So I'm just like hoping that it tastes good. I just don't know if it actually tastes like the real thing. I'm gonna go ahead and get that made up now since I'm already here. It's only 3:20, so I have plenty of time to still work on the meatloaf because we do meatloaf muffins and they don't take as long to cook.
This is a really easy recipe. I can try to find the original and link it down below for you, but I just go off of memory. So I used 4 jalapenos. I did not take the seeds or veins or anything out because I wanted it to be spicy, and 1 bunch of cilantro, stems and all. It all adds flavor. And I have this Ninja chopper that I got literally in 2012, and it is still kicking. It is great. So those 2 mixed up, and then buttermilk. This powdered buttermilk you mix with water and it does the same effect. You can also use regular milk with a little bit of vinegar or lemon juice. And then I take about half of it out so that I have more space in my Ninja thing. For spices, onion powder, garlic powder, salt and pepper. Season to your taste. I maybe did like a half teaspoon of each to a teaspoon. A half cup of mayo and half cup of Greek yogurt. You can also add some sour cream if you had it. I was completely out. And then I just mix it all together. This is a great dip, sauce, dressing. It's amazing. It is spicy if you don't take the seeds out of the jalapenos though. And then moving on to meatloaf. We do meatloaf cups, so we use a muffin tin. So to mix up the meatloaf, I do a pound of ground beef, an egg, and if I had breadcrumbs, I would add some breadcrumbs, but I make my own breadcrumbs and I was completely out. Did you just see that egg? Cracked the shell all over, inside, outside. It made a huge mess. Anyway, then I also add some Worcestershire, maybe like a teaspoon, some smoked paprika, some ground mustard, salt, pepper, garlic powder, onion powder, and just mix it up with my hand, massage everything all together. And then I use a large cookie dough scoop because these are extra large muffin tins for like jumbo muffins. Put the same amount in there. I had a little left over for the last one, so I just added them on in there and baked them. Moving on to mashed potatoes, you can watch me speed peel some mashed potatoes here. I wish it went this fast. Peeling potatoes is probably my least favorite thing to do in the kitchen. That and dishes. And then dicing them up, you just want them to be the same size. The smaller they are, the faster they're going to boil. Put them in a pot with some water, boil them until you can stick a fork in them and they're tender. And then I mix them up with just some milk, butter, salt and pepper. Very simple, and I did use a mixer for that. I do use a thermometer to temp my whatever meat I can if I'm cooking it, just to make sure. And so I got one out for the boys because it was already done. The other ones were not done yet, and so I had to put them back into the oven for a little while. But that's actually okay because Anthony likes ketchup on top of his. He would prefer it if I would take the time to mix it with like a little bit of barbecue and a little bit of mustard. But I was especially feeling lazy this night, so he just got ketchup. But I put a little on, put it back in the oven, and it warms the ketchup while it continued to cook. I think it took longer because we had a couple that were a little bigger. And this is our plate. We had meatloaf, sweet corn from my brother's field, and some mashed potatoes. Moving on to enchiladas, starting out with my beef, 1 pound of beef, just using my hands. They were already dirty, so just crumbling that up, getting that cooked down, and then I added some fresh garlic. I also added some salt and pepper later, but I didn't get a clip of it. I didn't want to add too much seasoning or spice because later I'm putting enchilada sauce on it. Shredding my own cheese, we do this, I would say 90% of the time, and I have this nifty little shredder that has a crank instead of, shredding it on a traditional cheese grater and cutting up your fingers. And then I added the juice of 1 lime. Then I have a baking dish. This is like bigger than an 8x8, smaller than a 9x13. So you tell me what size that is. Sprayed it, and then I'm using carb balanced tortillas. I think this is like the fajita size, filling them up pretty generously. Oh, and the cheese is in the meat. I know you saw it, but I didn't say it. And then taking some oil and just rubbing the top of those because I'm going to put them in the oven before I put the sauce on to get them like all nice and crispy. And then I'll put the sauce on it later. But the oil helps it not dry out and actually get crispy. Moving on to some bean dip. I just use 1 can of baked beans. I do use the low fat or the fat free. I don't remember what the actual label of it is. And I realized that my back burner would not start, so I had to move it. But then I added in some cheese sauce. This is just like a white queso from Sam's Club. The boys I knew would not eat enchiladas, so they are having just a cheese quesadilla this night. And then pouring that enchilada sauce on there. This is home canned enchilada sauce, and it's my last jar, so I'm going to have to make more this season. And this is what our plates looked like. We had some lime tortilla chips with it. It was really good. And the boys' plates, they didn't touch their beans, if you were wondering. Moving on to the Applebees Copycat, what's that called? Honey pepper mac and cheese. Starting off with the pepper sauce. I will link this recipe down below, but It has honey, brown sugar, soy sauce, or cocoa aminos is what I use. And you can't even see what I'm doing. My big old hands in the way. Vinegar, pineapple juice, pepper. So it called for 1 teaspoon of pepper, but I was using a 1/4 teaspoon cayenne pepper. And then you let that come to a boil and then simmer for about 15 minutes. Moving on to the cheese sauce for the macaroni, and I have noodles boiling back in that other pot, by the way. 1 stick of butter and 2 cups of heavy whipping cream, which is equivalent to one of the little baby ones. And then look at the back burner right there. You see what's about to happen? I stepped away for 1 minute to help a child with something. Turn the corner, complete and utter chaos. Look at that. Almost starting a fire. Ugh, it was rough. It was so hard to clean up too, so I had to move it to another burner. I took care of the cleanup later. And then back to my cheese mixture, adding in some fresh garlic and then cheese. Amounts will be down below, but it's Colby Jack, mozzarella, and Parmesan, a little bit of pepper, and then adding in the macaroni, and that does thicken later. And then while I was doing all of that, I was making some chicken strips in the air fryer and some bacon. And just throw it all together with that sauce. Put the chicken in that sauce. Absolutely delicious. That is all that I have for you today. Hopefully you found some meal inspiration. Again, recipes that I use will be linked down in the description box if you're wanting to make them yourself. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.